So I make these videos, and I haven't made one in a long time, about the global dominance of the United States and how I believe it is the sole global hyperpower, if not at this point, probably the sole global superpower. China kind of teeters on that status, but they don't have the ability to project their military more than a few hundred miles from their border. They truly can't be a global military power. They certainly have the economics to potentially be a superpower, but their economy likely won't keep up with the US going forward given what the problems are. But there's one thing that I've overlooked, and it wasn't necessarily that I completely overlooked it, but it's because it's there and I've seen it. I lived in Europe. I've been to Korea, Japan, all over, and it's American culture, and that is an absolute soft power play by the United States. And when I was in Germany, I went to Pizza Hut, I went to McDonald's. They were very good. Actually, they're for the most part better than the American versions, but probably because they use better ingredients. But anyway, so when I was in Korea, there's KFCs everywhere. I mean, they love KFC there, and so American culture, and it's funny because a lot of people make fun of America for saying they have culture, but American culture is present. Well, the reality is American culture is not the same as European culture. You're talking about a country that's less than 300 years old versus countries in a region in Europe and Middle East and Asia that are millennia old. And sure, there are human beings that lived in America before the written history of America, but it's hard to consolidate them and tell their stories when we just don't know them. Whereas in Europe, we can go back and see 2,000 years of history. In the US, there's just not that. But one thing that's for sure, despite what the past was, the future is most certainly going to be US. The cultural creep is what I'm going to start calling it, of US influence, soft power, away from these small regions that internalize I'm British and I do British things. That's going away. The US has found a way to export America to a world that seems to be fairly welcoming of it. Now, there's some regions that hate it. There's some regions that actively push back against it because they worry that it'll override their culture. China's one of those. We actively saw it in Germany. There's concerns about American cultural infiltration taking over German culture. Now, I think there's room for both. And it's not like we do this on purpose. We just kind of follow the money in America. We're not trying to be like, yeah, place a McDonald's there so they can be more American. It's just we found a niche to fill in a region. And this cultural creep has become more apparent this morning as I turned on the TV. And as many of you know, I'm a sports fan, so obviously I turned this on. So obviously that's an NFL game. That's an American football game being played in London, in the United Kingdom. And there was a U.S. college, there's a college game played in Dublin, Ireland, a college football game. You don't see other countries' sports teams playing in the U.S. on such a massive scale and national stage or global stage as you see American sports now starting to become exported to other countries. This soft power, this cultural export and integration of U.S. influence through now sports is taking place faster than it was before. There's baseball games going to be played in Mexico City and Tokyo from U.S. Major League Baseball. This influence is marching on. And whether you like it or not, the U.S.'s culture, our brand of business, our brand of sports, our brand of just general living is now infiltrating everywhere. And it has been for decades, but I think it's speeding up. I think the internet age, which I mean, let's be real, the internet age, the US got a leg up on that because it originated essentially out of the United States. In this internet age, America continues to dominate. The dominant social media platforms come out of the United States. The dominant streaming platforms come out of the United States. Therefore, a lot of people in a lot of countries are exposed heavily to the United States. And if they're done at a young enough age, you'll start seeing what I'm seeing on my screen right in front of me, and that is kids wearing US NFL jerseys and waving a UK flag at a game played in London that is objectively an American, the most American sport, with maybe baseball being up there with it, baseball and American football. Those are the two quintessential American sports. Well, really basketball too. I mean, let's be real. There's a lot of things there's a lot of sports Americans export, but that's what I'm talking about. Is culturally one of the biggest soft power plays America has, to pile on top of our military and to pile on top of the fact that we are the global reserve currency, and then also to pile on top the fact that we are now one of the biggest energy exporters and our population is far more stable, and there's just more and more stuff that you can pile onto that. I mean, military, the technological prowess, all of that leads to continued global dominance of the United States in both a hard power but also a soft power and influence situation. And what I hope is, my final thought will be, I hope that it doesn't override. I love America, I love American culture, but I also love German culture, I love British culture and French, and I hope we don't override. And I absolutely welcome the pushback from European countries that say, hold on, yes, we're watching the NFL in London, but we still have our own identity. And I think that's going to continue, and I would be happy for it because I think that's good. But don't think that America's power is just limited to its spending and its military. Our soft power is extraordinarily influential, more influential than any other country in the world, period.